Hi, good morning, and welcome to our first YouTube live event for business owners and sales leaders in automotive. We all know that marketing has changed. We've been talking about it for years. Now it's time to make sure sales teams realize that sales as they know it is changing as well. This event will help you see how the modern B2B buyer has changed the sales process and what you can do to successfully connect with and sell to the modern buyer. So I'm the commercial director at the Tree Group, and we're a sales agency that helps automotive companies improve sales. I've worked in sales and marketing for 23 years. My first brand manager role was at GPR Direct, where I ran the motorcycle division of Brembo Racing UK. I started off with zero promotional budget, so the experience taught me how to identify the ideal customer and build a sales program that involved a lot of hustling, but ultimately taking a genuine interest in the products I was selling and the people I dealt with. I took the department from £80,000 to around 800,000 in 4 years, and that included building a reseller network from scratch and converting all but one of the teams in the British Superbike Championship to running Brembo brakes. On the screen, you'll see my social media profiles. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or follow me on Twitter. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping notes. This event is based on the modern B2B buyer. When I say buyer, I don't just mean people in purchasing and procurement. When I say buyer, I mean the decision makers working for your ideal customers. So this could be engineers, designers, purchasing, business owners, MDs, or people in sales and marketing. If you have any questions, you can use the live chat area, then I'll review at the end of the event. If you can't make the live event, then it's recorded and made available on our YouTube channel and website on the downloads page. And lastly, you can expect this event to run for around 30 minutes. So the agenda, we'll start by defining the modern buyer. Then we'll look at a new method of selling to the modern buyer. And lastly, I'll wrap up with the key takeaways and answer any questions in the live chat. So today we're going to focus on the modern buyer and how they've changed the sales process and how the sales process is being redefined for companies in automotive. Before the internet, buyers were relatively uninformed. The buyer's journey was pretty much a straight shot that was triggered when a buyer recognized a need. Now the trigger can be random and the buyer can conduct his or her own personal research. Another shift in this area is how companies go about doing initial research. We see a lot of junior people doing research on LinkedIn and Google, and this research is passed up the ladder to more senior people to make decisions. For this reason, you should focus more on your ideal customers and see any contact from people in those companies as good leads. Also consider the next generation of engineers, designers, and purchasers that expect to communicate online and most specifically on LinkedIn. Due to the internet, the modern buyer is no longer dependent on salespeople to access the information necessary to make a purchase decision. If the modern buyer has a need for a product or service, they can get all of the answers to their questions online. They can research competitor information, reviews, and easily find and interact with others who have already made the purchase. They could reach the decision stage of their buyer's journey, all without ever speaking to a salesperson. The modern buyer is used to personalization. Companies such as Netflix and Amazon have made it the norm to know what the consumer is doing. Whilst these companies aren't in automotive, they're far-reaching and impact how people buy. They track what people are viewing and purchasing and offer suggestions based on their interests. Not only does this keep the people engaged with their products and services, but it keeps them coming back. One size does not fit all for the modern buyer. They expect you to know who they are and provide value to their buyer's journey. Marketing has accounted for the change in the modern buyer and has updated its efforts accordingly. Marketers have made quality content their focus and are always working to create content that pulls people towards a company's products and services. The lines between marketing and sales are closing. For the companies we work with, they typically have a small marketing function with a bigger focus on sales. When we apply a marketing approach to sales in automotive, we're able to sell in a different way compared to companies that take an old school approach. It's about using content to be helpful, become a resource about a topic, and most importantly, give people reasons why they should buy from you. Since its inception in 2006, the inbound methodology has helped companies create and deliver content that will appeal to their ideal customers in the right places and at the right times. This makes content that is relevant and helpful to the modern buyer, and it gets results. For one of our clients, B2B exhausts, we consistently generate leads by using content. One example is in the classic car and restoration market. On first glance, this is a very traditional market, but we've successfully used LinkedIn to connect with ideal customers, then use direct messages and helpful content to show why B2B are the experts in exhaust design. And this allows us to build relationships and give people reasons to buy. In one messaging campaign, we used a blog post about exhaust manifold design, sent it out as a personalized direct message, and that generated sales with classic car companies and a leading UK road car manufacturer. The inbound methodology focuses on 4 areas. Attract strangers and make them website visitors. Convert website visitors into leads. Close leads into customers. And delight customers so they become promoters. This was a fundamental shift from outbound efforts, but it's proven to be an effective way to turn strangers into customers and promoters of your business. And it's 100% catered to the modern buyer. This approach has made improvements to the sales acquisition funnel based on the modern buyer. When we're selling for our clients, they don't just want any sales opportunities, they want the right sales opportunities. By implementing an inbound methodology, we're able to attract the right kind of customers to their website by using blogging, LinkedIn connecting and messaging, one-to-one sales emails, and larger campaigns using email newsletters. Once we've attracted website visitors, the next phase of the funnel is to convert those visitors into leads by gathering their contact information. By adding lead generation links and forms to their website, we're able to see what individual people view documents and use that as a reason to contact them, already knowing what they're interested in. Before contacting them, we do some research to see if they're an ideal customer, then combine all the information we have to approach them with context and advice on the challenge they might have been trying to solve based on the content they viewed. Successful companies have taken the first step in evolving their methodology to better connect to and attract the modern buyer. They know they need to map out and deliver content based on the modern buyer's journey. As a result, 3 out of 4 marketers across the globe prioritize an inbound approach. And inbound campaigns achieve higher return on investment than outbound campaigns. Now it's time for automotive sales teams to step up. Sales needs to question and reassess their current practices and evolve to meet and surpass the modern buyer's expectations. So let's talk about your sales team's current efforts for a minute. Are you cold calling and leaving cold voicemails? Prospecting has changed. Fewer people have phones on their desks, and every phone now has caller ID. Are you relying on mass emails? I know personally my inbox is filled with mass emails I delete without opening. We've tried this approach ourselves, and it gets very poor results. We've actually taken steps to remove over 3,000 contacts from our CRM and email marketing to stop emailing people that don't want our emails and to focus more time on the right people. Is your sales team attending trade shows as a way to meet new prospects and gain new leads? Ask yourself, how many of the hundreds or thousands of people at trade shows can your sales reps actually meet and engage in productive and qualifying conversations? Trade shows aren't wrong at all, but how do you go about pre and post marketing and sales activity? Is it linked with your CRM? Is follow-up a manual task? Is your sales team giving the same generic presentations over and over? Are they adding value over and above what can be found on your website and online? Salesforce evangelist Tiffany Bova hit the nail on the head when she said, today's sales organizations must shift from trying to control their internal sales cycle and truly embrace the new customer-driven buying cycle. Otherwise, prospects will eliminate you from their consideration list and buy from your competition. Legacy sales methods need to be revamped. It's time for your sales efforts to merge with successful inbound efforts. Otherwise, your company will be removed from the modern buyer's equation. You need to think about the modern buyer and evolve your sales efforts to meet and surpass their expectations. Make it easy to buy from you. Show you understand how your products and services can help, and have your salespeople be genuine experts that can apply what you sell to each of your ideal customers' unique situations. Which is why for the remainder of our time together, we're going to talk about a new way of selling to the modern buyer. Here's a fact. The modern buyer does not always need a salesperson to make a purchase. There's a shift in the way people buy that we need to account for, a changing of the tides. We must evolve our efforts accordingly, or our businesses will suffer. We know that our friends in marketing have evolved to better connect to the modern buyer. We've heard the inbound marketing methodology is 10 times more effective for lead conversion compared to outbound methods. So, what if there was a way to take the lessons learned from inbound marketing and apply them to the sales process? What if there was a new way of prospecting? What if you could proactively combat the issues and known roadblocks your sales team faces when trying to connect with the modern buyer? The answer is here, and I'm pleased to introduce you to the inbound sales methodology, the new sales playbook. The inbound sales methodology accounts for all of the changing factors of the modern buyer and is all about transforming the way you sell to align with today's empowered buyer. Yes, the buyer has all of the control, not us. It's a hard pill to swallow no matter what department you work in, but once sales realize this, it makes all of the difference. Sales need to figure out who the buyer is, what they're searching for, and how they can add value to the buyer's journey. This is the foundation of the inbound sales methodology. It's all about using data and insight to add value to the prospect's buying journey, and above all, wanting to help, as this will create better customers and build a better reputation. But that sounds like a lot of work, and sales needs to hit their targets. They don't have time for this, right? Well, the current industry trends and analysis tell us that change is necessary. The latest State of Inbound Survey 2017 by HubSpot shows closing more deals and improving the efficiency of the sales funnel are the top 2 sales priorities, with social selling now coming in third. Sales teams can't afford not to adopt the inbound sales methodology. The screen shows just some of the places the modern buyer goes to conduct research online. The modern buyer can get information about your products, services, competitors, and sometimes price right from your website. So, why do we even need salespeople? The goal of the inbound sales methodology is for the salesperson to become the buyer's Yoda. The salesperson has to position themselves as a trusted advisor. They need to add value, become a leader in their space, and anticipate the buyer's next move so that the buyer trusts the salesperson, just like Luke trusted Yoda. Yep, I'm a Star Wars fan. And if you follow the inbound sales methodology, you'll become a sales Yoda in no time. Inbound sales is broken down into 4 stages: identify, connect, explore, and advise. We'll talk about each stage at a high level and show how sales can leverage insights in order to connect with the modern buyer. I'll prefix this section by saying, before starting any sales activity, you should always first research your ideal customers. This is done by creating buyer personas. When we do this, we normally interview 20 people per type of ideal customer. And that's going to tell us exactly how these people go about researching, considering, and deciding to buy the products and services that our clients are selling. I'll cover buyer personas in a future event. So, assuming you already have your buyer personas research done, the easiest way to identify your ideal customers is to have a CRM that will alert sales when somebody has visited your website, viewed a document, filled out a form, or opened an email. This doesn't completely replace your current sales strategy. For example, I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't research and create a target accounts list. You should be proactive, but with an inbound sales approach, content and context should be used as a conversation point and should be leveraged to increase your connect rate with these target accounts. You've identified leads, so now you know your potential buyers. Find out what blogs they're reading, what LinkedIn groups they belong to, what thought leaders they're following on Twitter. Retweet, guest blog, anything to position yourself as a thought leader in the space. And when connecting with the buyer, always lead with a message personalized to them. You can refer to the buyer's industry, role, interests, common connections, etc. Offer advice around the buyer's interests and specific goals. The goal here is to build trust and authority. You can really start to qualify leads in this stage of the sales methodology. Some things to consider and research. What's the buyer's role in the company? How long have they been at the company? Have they worked in different job roles? Who's their boss? Do you know anyone at their company? What groups are they part of? The point is to research them as a person rather than just a person at the company, so you can connect with them on a personal level. Let's look at a few tactics you can leverage in this phase. Many people don't understand how to get the best out of LinkedIn, and this creates a huge opportunity for companies in automotive. LinkedIn has a database of somewhere around 500 million people. On my last LinkedIn advanced search, looking for people in engineering, purchasing, and project job roles, and working for vehicle manufacturers and related businesses, specifically in automotive and defense, I found 14,700 people. It's the ultimate prospecting database for automotive companies to use to build their sales. It's very targeted sales activity, but en masse. Outside of social media, there are also ways you can see the whole picture for every lead and connect every tool your team uses, social and more. Tools like this pull in social intelligence, but also answer questions such as, you'll see what web pages they've seen on your website, what documents they've viewed on your website and sales emails, when they've opened your sales emails live, and what links they've clicked in your emails. Next is the explore phase. You want to leverage initial buyer interest to develop additional trust and uncover deep buyer goals through exploratory conversation. This is where your buyer personas research comes in. You'll already know their typical challenges and goals and can use that to craft helpful sales conversations during the explore phase. This phase is used to determine whether this person is a good or bad fit customer, Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader, if you will. During the explore phase, you can advise the buyer on how your product or service can help solve their particular challenges and goals. During the advise phase of the inbound sales approach, you need to tailor your emails, messages, content, and calls to the buyer's persona and leverage all of the information you've gathered from the explore phase. This means tailoring presentations that align your products and services value with the buyer's needs and using terminology the buyer knows and can relate to. The key is to let the buyer know you've done the work on your end and make them feel that you're adding value to their journey. You recognize that the buyer is a good fit for your company and you're helping the buyer understand why you're uniquely positioned to help them. By this stage, inbound salespeople have developed a relationship with the buyer so they can get honest answers from them. They can figure out the buyer's timeline and work backwards to create a plan to meet the deadline. And after the sale, the relationship does not end. The inbound salesperson transfers all of his or her knowledge to the post-sales team and checks in with the buyer every now and again to help ensure their continued success. Take a moment to consider the differences between legacy salespeople and inbound salespeople. Inbound salespeople prioritize buyers that are active in a buying journey. They build trust by participating in the buyer's online conversations, lead with personalized messaging and advice based on each buyer's interests. They transition into exploration mode when a buyer expresses interest and personalize the pitch to each buyer and adjust the sales process to the buyer's timeline. The sales process doesn't have to be about interrupting, pitching, and closing. The most successful sales process is about listening, diagnosing, and prescribing. The inbound sales methodology is a path for sales teams to follow to figure out who their buyers are, what the buyer is searching for, and how they can add value to the buyer's journey. So, key takeaways. A linear buyer's journey is no longer the norm. Today's buyer's journey is complex. There are many different avenues and opportunities for the modern buyer to conduct their own research. Modern buyers have many different places to go to learn about a product and service, or when they're ready to buy. The business's sales rep is just one item in a very long list, and buyers have many different sources of information when making decisions. So to finish, we're a sales agency that helps automotive companies to improve sales. Take a look at our website for more about using an inbound sales approach to help improve sales. If you enjoyed this event, you might like our other documents and events about improving sales, efficiency, and productivity on the downloads page of our website at thetreegroup.co.uk/downloads. That's it for this event. Thanks for attending our first YouTube live event. Contact me if you have any questions about sales or if you'd like a copy of this presentation in PDF. And I hope you can join us again in future. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.